Chapter 8. Spacecraft over Earth. Sure, parked near the shore of the westernmost reach of Lake Mead, east of Las Vegas, Nevada, is Victor 1, a spacecraft from an extraterrestrial culture in which the name Commander Valiant Thor is prominent. This is the craft which he commands and uses as his home on Earth. Victor 1 is northwest of Hoover Dam, southeast of Nellis Air Force Base, northeast of the town of Henderson, Nevada, and south of the gypsum plant. As of early December 1988, it was just south of Las Vegas Wash, about a mile northeast of the junction of highways 147 and 166. It can move about. Victor 1 has been in this vicinity for 11 years. There are other Victor-class spacecraft which have been observing Earth for thousands of years. Several thousand people of Earth know of Victor 1, approximately 2,000 are U.S. government officials currently in office. A limited number of people of Earth have visited Victor 1, including several scientists. No government officials have ever visited Victor 1. A spacecraft of the Victor class is a 300-foot diameter discus, 22 feet high at the rim, increasing to 97 feet on the axis. The permanent crew is approximately 200. Its audio-visual laser-type camera can select and pick up any person's actions and words as well as record them, all this up to a distance of 1,200 miles from the spacecraft. There are presently about 450 persons under surveillance by Victor 1. Only 20% are of a positive nature. The rest present some kind of threat to the planet. Approximately 103 Victor-class spacecraft are on or near the surface of the Earth, active between some 287 locations. The first Victor-class ship visited Earth nearly 6,000 years ago. When Albert Einstein's 4 papers of technical development first appeared in 1905, the need for close scrutiny increased. Deployment reached the present level of 103 in 1981 during the peak threat of nuclear war. All of the Victor-class ships were carefully constructed on board the Starship. There is a level compartment on the very bottom of the Starship where these ships are constructed and housed until they are dispatched. The crews are carefully chosen, with the ranking officers being those who are considered seasoned to command such a craft. The design of the Victor-class ships is constant. There are no variations. There are other scout ships that are smaller, such as the one which Vi used to go to Alexandria, Virginia and visit the Pentagon. These have a capacity of 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 or 10 persons. All of these are also constructed of the same basic material as the Victor-class ships. The shapes vary. As a matter of fact, they have been built in every shape known to man. A mini-class ship with an elongated configuration in the shape of a torpedo is used to transport supplies. These are those which have been seen coming out of the sides of mountains in California, Nevada, and Arizona. Bases inside these mountain areas house these craft as well. You may have heard some of the stories the Indians tell of these bases. All of the Victor-class ships have the capability of interplanetary travel if and when it's necessary. However, for the most part, they are used only on and around the Earth and Moon. The smaller ships are not designed for deep space travel. Commander Vi was instrumental in the original design of the Victor ships. The secret of propulsion in Victor 1 lies in the proper use of vibration. In every one of the Victor series ships there is a power rod that governs propulsion. Utilizing the power of electromagnetism, the ship is able to draw from this power, which is then circulated through the navigational system without worrying about a breakdown in the system, because it actually is capable of repairing itself. With the knowledge that all forces are vibratory, some high, some low, the high nullifies or repels the lower one against which it is opposed. In most cases, the higher is the dominating force. The length and rapidity of the waves are governed by the initial vibrations of the force. This force also forms an impenetrable shield around the ship, which in turn repels anything that may be in its pathway. Thus, if they should encounter any space junk or even a meteor bombardment while in flight, the force field will cause it to disintegrate and it will be reduced to a fine powder. The entire force field is so simplistic that many of our top scientists and space engineers would stumble over its uncomplicated structure. A force field is created by a combination of magnetism and electricity, which is diverted in order to exert power to resist magnetization or demagnetization. The universe is alive with interacting magnetic lines of force. The basic structure of the skin of the ship is very thin, thus allowing the onboard mechanisms to operate without hindrance. It is made of a substance similar to a plastic crystal matter. Some layers are positive ionized, some are negative. These are insulated from each other with neutral layers between them. Due to the fact that cosmic rays in space are unstable, the ship's operation through space is not affected. In reality, what we are witnessing is a marvelous harmony and cooperation with natural forces. There are endless variations of magnetic fields or fluxes in the universe. Cosmic rays produce their own magnetic wakes in their paths. Thus the ether is in constant motion at all times in all places. The crystal property of the Victor series refines all the electromagnetic and corpuscular energies into varying frequencies and wavelengths. Cosmic rays actually represent various forms of radiation, of intense penetrating power, and high frequency, impinging upon the planet Earth from outer space, and subdivided into high-energy primary rays, consisting almost entirely of positively charged particles. Also, secondary rays formed from many types of atomic particles, positive and negative in charge. These charges, because of their nature, are not constant and are very unstable. This condition exists not only around the Earth but also in all of the material universe. As the crystal property is stepped up by the electromagnetic energy, its lattice structure undergoes certain changes which cause the ship to emit light of various colors. When such a force is discharged under normal conditions, a flame or darting lightning is visible all around the ship. Thus, we see streaks of fire. In some cases, even a vapor trail emitting from the direction from which the ship has come. By directing a sudden impulse of energy and resistance to the energy simultaneously into the ship, it can be made to explode into a shower of spark fragments. This is only done under controlled conditions. The Victor series ships are not just guided but completely controlled at all times. The master beam from the starship holds each of these ships locked in like a vice. Every molecule and every atom is vectored in the same direction at the same time. Any gravitational effects from inertia are thereby neutralized or non-existent. The air forces of the world governments as well as their scientists are in a quandary as they try to explain how these ships operate, violating every known law of aerodynamics. Because of the magnetic lines of force in space which frequently cross each other, the ship easily rides these lines, thus executing impossible right-angle turns without slowing down. There are times when the wings of our own dulled imaginations fail to grasp the reality that we are dealing with highly advanced beings, with advanced knowledge and instrumentation that we ourselves would command if only certain individuals from the beginning of recorded history had not dropped the ball. Vice Commander. These include Don, Ton, Teal and the medical officer who is known as Doc. These commanders have been chosen to serve until further advised. The rest of the complement are those from the home planet Venus, who have elected to serve under the direct command of Commander Vi Thor. From time to time, however, there are those from other systems, who volunteer to serve on Victor 1 for short periods of time, about 3 Earth months. This is done so that those of the crew members who wish to return home for a time, may do so without disrupting the vital functions of the ship. Remember, life is not the same on other planets as it is here on Earth. No person or job is looked upon as any more or less important than any other person or job. All are happy to be in the service of the Creator and perform any function which He may choose for them. Of course, everyone looks with eyes of great respect and admiration upon Vi Thor and other commanders because of their knowledge that Vi and his vice commanders have been directly appointed by the Master to their positions. 3 to 5 crew members directly assist VC Teal in the preparation and teaching of the various classes conducted aboard Victor 1. Most of these classes are conducted by her and pertain directly to the following subjects. A. Earth Sciences. B. Earth People and Their Habits. C. The Fall of Mankind and the Salvation of Jesus Christ. D. The Psychology of the Human Being. E. The Reason for the Human Being. F. The History of Mankind. G. The Ultimate Position of Mankind in the Universe. Teal often uses as examples a few Earth people. For example, my wife Julie is a popular subject in her classes. These classes are conducted for both outer space and Earth visitors to Victor 1 and are conducted 5 days per week. It may interest you to know that every morning a meeting is conducted to give worship to the Master Creator. Commander Vi, when he is present, speaks briefly to everyone, usually complimenting visitors and welcoming newcomers, many of whom have assisted crew members in the performance of their duties. Usually visitors lend a helping hand and thereby learn what tasks must be performed on Victor 1 on a daily basis. Whenever Vi or one of his crew leave Victor 1 for any reason, they are in constant communication with the ship and can be called to return in the event of an emergency. Depending on the scope of the emergency, they will either return with their vehicle or will be beamed aboard. The power rod which runs from the top to the bottom of the ship is located directly in the center of Victor 1. This rod also powers the defense mechanism in the form of advanced laser-type equipment. It is from this rod that the laboratory and the medical treatment rooms are powered. Communication systems. There are three main communication systems aboard all Victor ships. They are: 1. Telepathic. The individual communication officer has achieved an advanced level of development of telepathic ability. His power is virtually limitless in this area. Most communication between ships and/or ground personnel is sent and received in this manner. There are special devices on board called taxto which controls the beam lock that allows the ship to remain on a true course at all times. The telepathic ability of the operator, the pilot, with which he also controls the taxto device, is a vital part of every extraterrestrial. This type of communication is sometimes utilized when communicating with those of planet Earth as well as crew members who are outside the Victor ship. Not all communication between space people and those of Earth is done by man-made transmitters and receivers involving complicated electronic circuits and bulky equipment. When communication of this nature is accomplished without the aid of a single electronic component, this phenomena is commonly referred to as mental telepathy. One form radiates brain waves as far as they are sent without concern for negative obstruction. Vibrations such as this travel completely around the planet, as fast as the speed of thought. When this thought wave pattern strikes another brain which is keyed to the same vibratory rate, the receiver brain understands perfectly the thought waves from the person sending the message. This includes the person operating a spacecraft. Therefore, with 2 points keyed to the same vibration, it is perfectly easy to execute thought waves to a person or thought waves to an instrument or mechanism. 2. Holographic. When it becomes necessary for a visual contact, the hologram has proven to be the most effective. In this manner, the person can actually see the one who is transmitting the message. This is the same system which is located in the personal residence bases which I described to you in an earlier chapter. The hologram is actually a photographic process utilizing a split beam of laser light in order to produce on a photographic plate, minus the necessity of using a lens. In other words, the interference pattern of light waves. This results in a three-dimensional image that can be captured by a receiving device and then reconstructed and viewed. The most advanced type of holographic equipment is a system whereby both sender and receiver can carry on a two-way conversation, as is the case with the certain locations on our planet. Keep in mind that these communications are like actually being there and are in full color. 3. Direct communication. This represents simply the ability of extraterrestrials to reroute their audio/visual ability to communicate with those of Earth through a radio, television set and telephone. This is the method utilized by Commander Vi and others from time to time in their communications with me. When certain people are in constant communication with space beings, there is often no need for special equipment in order to maintain a steady link-up. They are able to utilize whatever we have in our homes, offices, cars, and so on. I have personally walked by a telephone booth somewhere, the telephone rings and it is Vi on the other end of the line wishing to converse with me. I have also witnessed his communicating with me through my car radio even when it was not on. Communication is easily accomplished by those who are called angels of God. It is Don, who most frequently visits the Los Angeles area traveling to the residence of his longtime friend, Dr. Lee, to discuss world conditions, relate news of some of Dr. Lee's friends in Japan and Hong Kong, meet other visitors, as well as enjoy their company. This also gives me the opportunity to meet with him personally and receive his counsel in matters pertaining to my life and my work. Don generally accompanies me on my travels within the United States as well as around the world. This too gives us the opportunity to converse at length. The confines of a jet flying at 35,000 feet provides each of us with a captive audience as well as a relaxing, uninterrupted atmosphere. Truly a great work is being performed before us if only we have the eyes to see, the ears to hear and the faith to believe. A final word from Valiant Thor. Those of you who are reading this book will know the truth. The very fact that you are open to truth is amply reflected in your interest in this book. It is no accident that you have come in contact with Dr. Frank Strange's. If you, as a student, are ready for the whole truth, he will teach you. Be prepared to launch out into areas of research and investigation that will excite your high consciousness such as never before. Re-evaluate your personal goals and seek to change them for the better, accordingly. Remember, you must be the one to change. You have been reminded that success and prosperity must be experienced first in the mind, then it will become a reality. Let me also state the importance of your overall contribution of love, time and devotion to service. Loyalty to your overseer who is Christ along with the unselfish gift of your substance can only result in heavenly treasure. Once you have made your commitment to the Master, keep that commitment. To forfeit it is to break your word. It is called your love tithe to God. Do not be surprised that I mention this. In fulfilling this commitment you will be counted as worthy in God's eyes to be one chosen for a specific task. To deny yourself this will also hamper your spiritual growth. Begin to place yourself in the position of a leader instead of a follower. The decision is clearly up to you. Many wonder why God is using you, mankind, to perpetuate His will. This thought was established from the beginning. You are a part of that plan if you so choose. Let your mind be permeated by the divine mind and you will work exploits in His name. Many have requested that I come and lecture, conduct classes, teach you what I know. This is quite impossible. However, through Dr. Strange's, a vehicle has been designed to fulfill that request. It would not be practical for you to expect me to come to teach you individually or collectively at this time as I must perform the following tasks in my position. 1. Command the starship as well as Victor 1. 2. Head the Venusian Council of 12. 3. Control certain outposts around this planet. 4. Oversee the task forces used to contain radiation around your cities. 5. Make regular journeys to and from the planets. 6. Conduct seminars on the starship for the indoctrination of those visiting from other star systems. 7. Monitor discussion and plans by world leaders. 8. Prevent atomic holocaust by exercising certain limits on certain human agencies. 9. Work in full harmony with our Heavenly Creator. Please do remember that there are at this time 7 persons, of various backgrounds and experience on this earth who have been gifted with a keen insight regarding matters pertaining to the future of this planet. It would do you good to listen to these 4 men and 3 women, one of whom is Dr. Frank Strange's. The others will make themselves known to their groups in their respective parts of the globe.